Yeah, gentleman from Alabama is recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. You know, in Alabama recently, I was told that in Birmingham, we seized enough fentanyl to kill every man, woman, and child in my entire state. And so I tell everybody this may be affecting border communities, but it's a crisis for our entire nation. And so we're going to try to address it. And Sheriff, this is my third trip down, and so I want to talk a little bit, some things that just kind of stuck out when I was asking the agents along the border that kind of concerned me, and really kind of, as I talk about it, it's something that kind of, it strikes a chord with a lot of people. But you were saying earlier that the price that you're seeing now to come across the southern border, it's ranging from $6,000 to $15,000, is that correct?
In Yuma County, yes, sir.
Now, who's getting that money, Sheriff?
The cartels.
The cartels. So when I was, a few years ago, of course, we talk about inflation, the money we print, everything's gone up, but a few years ago I heard it was $4,000 just south of the southern border, and then the Triangle Nations further south. We had a price for Syria of up to $20,000. Are y'all seeing some high prices from other countries around the globe as well?
That's my understanding, yes, sir. When you're looking at Iran, Iraq, Afghanistan, Uzbekistan, Russia has been an increase where I think Border Patrol, roughly 70 a day was a number that they were encountering just from Russia.
What's the price on a Russian now coming across the border?
I would think that it would be that much, yes, sir.
I would imagine. I don't know. I haven't heard the Russian price. We actually seized some Chinese nationals, the Sheriff's Department in Texas, and it was $80,000 each. Folks, they're not coming here to do us any favors, just so you know. No. But, Sheriff, my question now, you said that, so we got a price. What about if somebody, have you guys heard, and maybe other law enforcement officers would know too, what if they don't have the money to pay the cartel? What are the options then?
So the option is that it's indentured servitude, slavery. They're going to be sent to a certain location, and I found pieces of paper down on the border that list the location that they are to go to, and that's where they will work off their debt, depending on what you're capable of doing.
Wait now, Sheriff. So you're telling me that Biden's policies on the southern border are actually creating American or slaves from around the globe. Is that correct?
Correct.
Wow. So the Democrats who accuse us of all the awful things that we do, they're actually enforcing policies now that are creating slaves in this country.
Mm-hmm. It's lending to that right now.
So not only are they creating slaves, but I also heard, and this, I found this rather intriguing when I was on the border, if somebody was coming across the border and they actually didn't have the money and they didn't want to be an indentured servant, is it true that they can backpack now heroin, fentanyl, and cocaine and pay that passage? Is that an option as well?
That is an option.
So the Democrats' policies, two things now. So they're creating slaves and drug mules. Is that where we're going with this? No wonder they don't want to come talk about it, right? So now that we've got this issue of slaves and drug mules, I want to change over a little something I saw. And you guys, this is troubling to me. Is I went to Fort Bliss, the Emergency Intake Center. You guys heard of this? Fort Bliss, to handle all the unaccompanied minors coming to this country. And as I was there, the admiral's running it, and I'm like, sir, why don't we send these kids, these are unaccompanied minors now, back to their home country, back to their town? And the admiral said, well, they don't know where they came from. So these kids were from, I saw one, I know he's probably no more than 5, and I saw some probably, the average was 16, 17-year-olds. So they're saying these kids, these unaccompanied minors, do not know where they came from. I said, well, where are we going to send them to? Oh, we're going to send them to a Google address of the United States of America. Then we don't background check the people we're sending them to. So one of my friends here, I remember earlier, hit on this. We are actually, with taxpayer dollars, are now trafficking children, and we're paying to get them there on American taxpayer dollars and put them in God knows what and God knows where. And so the thing that really, I think Andy Biggs has mentioned this, Rep. Biggs, is, y'all, we've lost 20,000 children. Mayorkas said himself in a hearing he does not know where 20,000 of these children are. And that's just staggering to me. So Sheriff, have you, as you begin, is it mostly heroin and cocaine now and fentanyl, or is it just mostly fentanyl?
Unfortunately for Arizona and California right now, we're the worst and the top as far as fentanyl, and below that is methamphetamine. And to address your other comment, what you're looking at is a ploy by the cartels marketing a way to work with Mayorkas on the reunification policy that he put into place. So if you send your child across as a child that's by themselves, then you can be reunified when you come at a later date and time. So the cartels are exploiting every policy that this administration has put into play.
And it's almost like they're better at the game than we are, right? I mean, they know before we know what's happening. I know that they're talking about the new rules that the Biden administration won't enforce, and basically that just adds another step. But my understanding last night, I was talking to one of the border agents, is once the illegals, when they cross into the country, they want that MTA, that motion to appear in court. Is that correct? Now, Mr. Lyons, could you tell me for sure, when they get this MTA, does that automatically qualify them for benefits?
Yes, it does.
So you're telling me they come into the country, they turn themselves in, and then they get the MTA, and they are qualified for benefits from the American taxpayer?
Yes, sir.
Do we have any idea how much those benefits run, or how? Any idea? Have you heard that, Mr. Lyons?
Up to $800 a month.
$800 a month. And so I understand too. We give them a cell phone.
Yes, we
Have
do.
y'all heard that we actually give them a cell phone? My kids would probably rather come across the border, honestly, sometimes.
Yes, sir.
So we give them a cell phone that they can jailbreak and use it however they want. My understanding. Go ahead, Lyons. I'm waiting. I want to hear what you got to say.
Well, it was just they give them that phone so that they know where they're at, but we have a 95% failure rate to appear for those motions.
So you mean they take our phones, but they don't take our phone calls? Is that what you're telling me?
Yes,
What's
sir.
going on?
Yes, it's the worst state.
Man, that does sound like my kids.
Yes.
Now, Doc, one last thing, and then we'll get off, and I'll give Mr. Jordan. I didn't have a timer over here, Jim. Am I overtime?
You're definitely over
Benefits
time.
continue,
I'm
Mr.
definitely
Moore.
overtime.
But the benefits continue.
The chairman says I'm definitely over time.
You
So,
can
Doc,
ask your last question.
Last question, Doc. So 100% of the immigrants, when you deliver the children, you have to give them car seats, I understand. So because the federal government requires you, isn't there some rule that says you can't send a child away from hospital without a car seat?
Correct. CMS rule, we cannot do that.
So we're buying all the car seats as we send them on the way and paying for all the health care, and you're $26 million in debt, basically.
Correct.
Very good. Thank you for your time. I appreciate it. I'll yield back, Mr. Chairman.
Thank the gentleman.